Hi, boys and girls. This is a video to help you with IXL Objective P14. That is Friday's assignment. You will be comparing fractions with like denominators and unlike denominators. When you compare with like denominators, it's much easier. Remember that the denominator is how many pieces something is cut into or how many pieces are in a group. The numerator, the top number, is how many pieces you have of that particular thing. So in this case, we're comparing 4/6 with 5/6. And the question I have right now is which one is greater between 4/6 and 5/6. So I hope you said 5/6 is greater, because if you have this much, you have 5 out of 6 of the pieces, which is more than having 4 out of 6 of the pieces. Remember that a fraction you can say many different ways. You can call this 4/6, you can call it 4 out of 6, and you can call it 4 divided by 6. So when we look at this next set of fractions, 7/8 compared to 6/8, my question this time is which one is less? So I hope you said that 6/8 is less, because if you have 6 out of 8 pieces, it is fewer or less than 7 out of 8. So when the denominator is the same, it's much easier to do the comparison. Over here we have 5/10 and 9/10. So which one is greater? Well, 9/10 is greater. If you have 9 out of 10 pieces of something, you have more than if you have 5 out of 10 pieces. So that's pretty straightforward. It's when we come to unlike denominators that it can be a little trickier. And for this, I want to encourage you to do a couple of things. The first thing is to use this visual aid. I sent one in your packet last week, and if you don't have one, I'll put one up on Google Classroom, or I can email it to you. But this is very helpful because you can visually see the difference. But I'll teach you another way as well. So if we have 2/3 and 4/8, and you want to ask yourself which one is greater. So you have 2 out of 3 here and 4 out of 8. Now you're assuming that your two items you're comparing are exactly the same size, except in this case, one is cut into 3 pieces, and in this case, one is cut into 8 pieces. So if we go down here and look at our visual aid, we have 2/3, which is 1 2/3. And then we have 4/8. Notice where 2/3 ends right there. And then we have 4/8, which is 1 2 3 4. And it ends right here, whereas the 2/3 ends right there. So which one is greater? Well, this one would be. If this was a strip of candy, you would get a longer strip of candy here than if you just got 4/8. So we would go back up here and we would say 4/8, or we would say 2/3 is greater and 4/8 is less. Then we have 7/9 and 5/8. And we can go down here and again look at our 9ths and our 8ths. So we have 7/8, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7/8. And I've forgotten the other fraction, which was 7/9 and 5/8. Sorry about that. 7/9. So that would get us to here, and 5/8, which would get us 1 2 3 4 5 right to here. So this one would be greater, the 7/8. One other thing I want to say real quickly, because the video is going to end, is you can also compare them to a half. So if you looked at this one and you said, oh, well, I know 4/8 is 1/2 and 2/3 is bigger than 1/2, then you would automatically know that this one is greater. So when you do